sponsor is permanent, someone who's struggled with their own addictions, and is going to offer you lifelong support and advice, which is
lifelong, lifelong,
and is going to offer you lifelong support and advice, which is
We completely understand, Mr. McKean. Fluid layout. No,
layout, layout,
fluid layout. No, we completely understand, Mr. McKean. Fluid layout. No, we agree. Grid-based design, it's gone the way of the dinosaur.
grid, grid,
Grid-based design, it's gone the way of the dinosaur.
And what kind of a sponsor would allow his sponsee to risk their sobriety over a simple case of neuroleptic poisoning?
Poison, poison,
Case of neuroleptic poisoning.
Hubert Primler. They switched to making batteries full-time in 1907, each one stamped with the company's now.
stamp, stamp,
Each one stamped with the company's now. I think he was telling the truth when he said he dialed the wrong number this morning. We have the man who set it off accidentally in 2012.
accidentally, accidentally,
We have the man who set it off accidentally in 2012.
we were told you work with the police.
I'm their consultant. This is Miss Watson. She is my consultant / housekeeper.
slash, slash,
She is my consultant / housekeeper. Had no signal towers within 42 blocks of your old offices. In 2010, they erected a new tower.
erect, erect,
2010, they erected a new tower.
In Captain Frederick Marryat's 1830 novel, The King's Own, signifying a situation of great peril.
peril, peril,
Signifying a situation of great peril.
Are you seriously going to make me ask?
Ask what?
About your sponsor, Alfredo.
Delightful fellow. He's a
delightful, delightful,
delightful fellow. He's a good... Yellow cartoon sponge man.
sponge, sponge,
Yellow cartoon sponge man. Yellow cartoon sponge man. Sports news. Mouthwash advert. Arctic blue.
You want to
Arctic, Arctic,
Arctic blue.
you want to tell me what you're doing?
Method of loci. Mnemonic device. Relies on memorized spatial relationships to establish catalogue.
memorize, memorize,
Relies on memorized spatial relationships to establish catalogue. Fat lady, new cookbook, insufferable, erectile dysfunction, nature program, penguins, and
dysfunction, dysfunction,
erectile dysfunction, nature program, penguins, and
that cleaning out the Pacific Ocean is a good idea.
What do you suggest we tell the Japanese worker whose livelihood depends upon this trade?
livelihood, livelihood,
Whose livelihood depends upon this trade?
which means it has a great deal in common with a component from a bomb the ELM detonated in a lumber mill in Utica in 2005.
lumber, lumber,
In a lumber mill in Utica in 2005. But
The NYPD bomb squad is currently struggling with this very conundrum, so I thought I would help.
With tennis balls?
I'm attempting to replicate the...
replicate, replicate,
With tennis balls?
I'm attempting to replicate the... The bomb would have filled the air with an odor as pungent as it is distinctive. The same odor that you're smelling right now.
odor, odor,
The same odor that you're smelling right now. The same odor that you're smelling right now. The thing is, I didn't smell any fertilizer when we were there. I
fertilizer, fertilizer,
smelled any fertilizer when we were there. I
almost a third of a page of the October 13th edition of the New York Times. This particular clump caught my eye.
clump, clump,
This particular clump caught my eye. This particular clump caught my eye. I saw small, almost imperceptible indentations along the upper fringe.
fringe, fringe,
Along the upper fringe.
First rule of the sponsorship. Newcomers like him don't always understand the
Newcomer. Newcomer.
Newcomers like him don't always understand the
You want sex?
Excuse me?
I'm not averse, Miss Van Owen. I'm just...
Verse. Verse.
I'm not averse, Miss Van Owen. I'm just... Perhaps we could set an appointment. You're flirting.
Flirt. Flirt.
You're flirting. I see the human resources report and then nothing, no more papers.
Yes, that's because his contract with this company was terminated.
Because
Terminate. Terminate.
This company was terminated.
because
That the only possible explanation for his disappearance was death.
You think he was a victim of foul play?
Foul. Foul.
You think he was a victim of foul play?
And when I took the frames off the wall, I saw that she was right. There's no old nail holes that correspond to the frame's original arrangement.
Correspond. Correspond.
That correspond to the frame's original arrangement. From Pradeep Singh's decomposing body, expanded the plastic sheeting that he's wrapped in, pushing outwards.
Outward. Outward.
Pushing outwards.
Are you telling me that Pradeep is in that wall?
It would explain the mold, too. No. His killer removed insulation to make...
Insulation. Insulation.
His killer removed insulation to make... No. His killer removed insulation to make space for his body. This creates a temperature differential between...
Differential. Differential.
This creates a temperature differential between that section and the others. Condensation formed.
Then mold.
Mold. Mold.
Then mold.
That Pradeep had anything to do with it.
What's that? Company newsletter?
Newsletter. Newsletter.
What's that? Company newsletter?
That means he spent almost a week in the early part of October 2008 sitting within spitting distance of a live explosive device.
Explosive. Explosive.
Sitting within spitting distance of a live explosive device.
Cheech and Chong's next movie.
It's not a good movie, but didn't make me want to commit homicide.
Homicide. Homicide.
But didn't make me want to commit homicide.
Alfredo, yeah, I don't think that's going to work out. Spark's no longer there. I think I'm going to have to seek sponsorship elsewhere.
Sponsorship. Sponsorship.
I think I'm going to have to seek sponsorship elsewhere. So when you got into business school, you needed a source of income. Something to pay your tuition.
Tuition. Tuition.
Something to pay your tuition. It probably took him a while to realize that his new boss was one of the women that he had secretly recorded years ago. But when he...
Secretly. Secretly.
Women that he had secretly recorded years ago. But when he... Small confession. I find the anti-prostitution laws in this country rather Victorian.
Victorian. Victorian.
In this country, rather Victorian. An imprint of the word Novocaine. Useful handwriting sample, but the message itself rather opaque.
Opaque. Opaque.
But the message itself rather opaque.
I'm going to be out of your life in a few weeks. Maybe you're dreading that date.
Dread. Dread.
Maybe you're dreading that date.